Bravo.
Thank you.
Let me see. Am I coming in clear? I can hear
Oh,
myself.
I can hear you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
Coming in clear. You're looking good on the screen here. The lighting is on point.
You know what?
Come on.
I just would love to give props to Denver Community Media for
shout out.
allowing us to kind of stream today's festival and just
DCM.
providing like a high quality space for us. And yeah, we got all the angles. We're going to be kind of talking about the episode and to me, also just like making a connection and broadening the film community.
Hell yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'm really curious if we could just start with what is the origin story of To the Streets? How did this idea come about? And yeah, how did this get started?
We had made a short film together called Get the Comic. It's now available on our YouTube page. What is our YouTube page?
L Train Productions.
Yeah, L Train
Train Prod.
And so we finished our short film, and then Audiel really liked the idea of doing a podcast, and I was into the idea of doing a sketch comedy series. And so we were like, what if we combined those two? What we just saw was just the sketch portion. There's afterwards we interview the lead character of the episode and kind of do it podcast style. So that was my impetus. I don't know what Audiel was.
Yeah, and then we in terms of influence and inspiration, we kind of drew from popular podcasts like Between Two Ferns.
Yeah, we love Between Two Ferns.
Love Between Two Ferns, and you love the animated Who Framed Roger.
Who Framed Robert Redford?
Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, so it's the
and
conceit
then-
of like Between Two Ferns meets Who Framed Roger Rabbit meets Louis, if that makes any sense.
But then kind of continuing the process of capturing the concrete jungle of New York, we wanted to shoot it kind of like a Louis type-esque series and just capture all of New York and its ruggedness. And
Yeah, it's like something that that could kind of capture sort of the life of like comedians. We have a lot of comedians in our show, and so we love the idea of Louis kind of being this. Louis was kind of like this heightened reality. They would always play with that weird meta aspect of it, and that's what I liked. And so I'm like, what if we combine that aspect of like street level comedians mixed with like this half animation, half live action kind of series. So that's kind of what inspired us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it was an interesting time, like when Louis started playing with kind of like using like single camera, that handheld, and really like
Very surreal.
Yeah, and using the city almost as like a way to kind of like help paint in this picture, which like To the Streets also does.
Yeah. No, we really like the idea of making New York City a character, and that's kind of with all the projects that I do, the environment is always kind of a character in and of itself. I had made a web series before this called Mystery Mansion, and we had shot it in this very specific location, and I was all about, how can we make the environment a character? And so we kind of just expanded that idea to the whole of Manhattan. We go all over the place in the series. We go to the, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Times Square, Rockaway Beach, you just saw, and so...
Natural Museum of History, Museum of Ice, Museum of Natural...
Museum we shot at the Museum of Ice Cream.
And then the Hamptons.
Episodes. Yeah, Hamptons.
Hampton Vice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I when I watched the episode, I was thinking about that you guys use the rooftop in New York, and I used to live in New York, and we were talking about this before we jumped on the mics, and people in other cities don't realize actually how important a rooftop is to kind of New York and keeping it, giving that airspace to stay sane.
Yeah.
What were kind of the challenges of kind of filming up on the rooftop?
I think just coordination. I mean, because the rooftop that we shot on it's a comedy club called the Tiny Cupboard. And so Adiel had a relationship with the one of the bookers there, and so he coordinated all of that.
So they would used to do rooftop shows there, actually, which is really, that's quite something.
That's how we got introduced to it.
Right. And so they used to do rooftop shows, and now they do it in this very, I think it used to be like a church, and now it's like they did a great job making a comedy club. And so we wanted to use their roof to actually do the sketch, and then getting the right actors and the script right for us to be able to shoot. One of the problems was the wind in the train.
Yeah,
so just
that was
making
the
sure
main
the
issue.
sound that we had lav, so we were all good for sound and everything. Because you have so many distractions on a daily basis to shoot on that heightened level.
Yeah, just there's nothing blocking the wind. So I feel like that was the biggest issue. Was like, how do we set these lavaliers up and get the sound mixing all right? Which is we for the most part, I like how the sound came up, but there's always stuff you want to tweak and fix, and
Had a denoise and
Yeah. So, kind of along those lines, what would you say are the biggest payoffs to this project, and what have been the biggest challenges?
Man, take it away.
Biggest payoffs. First of all,
Getting to do this show.
working with Isaiah Mueller again after working on Get the Comic and working with more comedians. So the first project we shot with like 30 comedians. It was all comedians really.
It was
for Get the Comic.
For a short film, it's a really like sprawling cast. We go to a lot of different locations in Get the Comic, and it was like it featured like 30 New York City comedians.
Yeah.
That was our entire cast. But with this, we were able to sort of hone in on specific comics and kind of build the episodes around them,
Right.
and their personalities.
And we really wrote for these episodes for the comics to bring out their greatest strengths on stage. So like
Nick Crespo, he really just hangs out on a beach in his underwear shooting machine guns.
shout out Nick Crespo, David Marco, SB Rivadeneira, and Joe DeSantis, and everybody. Renato Pontis also, who did the animation for the helicopter. So the payoffs of working with them, being able to collaborate with all of them, and then we just want to keep making great art and great motion pictures. So we hope to work with them again soon.
Yeah, I feel like another payoff is that we this project really came together. All the stars kind of aligned, and things just kind of worked out for us. We got the locations we want. Every location we wanted, we pretty much got. We were lucky to like meet amazing artists, and I think over the course of the series we had like 8 different animation artists from different countries all working on it. So that was really, really amazing, and just getting to shoot at the locations we shot at. It was there's so many places I had in my mind that I wanted to shoot in, and we lucked out and got it. And then we shot in the Museum of Natural History in the 3rd episode. And that, you can't do any commercial filmmaking there, so we kind of had to do it very guerrilla style and run around and avoid the security guards and get all the shots we needed. So that was
even
fun.
The beach too. I mean, it was very guerrilla style filmmaking. So,
if I can commend the introduction of machismo, for real, I think just that the excessive use of the machine gun to me is
Yeah, and that was one of the things where Adiel really came in handy, because I was like in the editing room, I was like, oh man, should we have that much machine gun? Like, should he be shooting that way? And Adiel's just like, more machine gun.
No, I think that's why I like it. It's let's
really
milk this,
Yeah,
and you guys really got every ounce out and then some.
Oh yeah.
the fact that he's there by himself before we even pull up, just shooting in the wind.
Yeah,
It's kind of funny.
really funny.
So when I was viewing it, and we talked about this before, that there's this moment, and I was like, wait, did they really get a jet ski? And it's like, yeah. And, as a filmmaker myself, I was like, it would take more work to fake it. It makes more sense to just go get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So tell me about kind of that idea and pursuing that idea, and what it's been like showing people the episode.
No, I mean, it's been awesome showing it off, because back in the city, we would do a stand-up show, and then we would premiere an episode. And so we would do these shows that were like half comedy, half premiering the episode, and the responses has always been really, really fun. But the initial idea for the jet skis came about. Me and Adiel just really like going big, and trying to just make things as cinematic and big as possible in a world where everybody's doing these very sort of vertical TikTok videos. We're just like, let's fucking blow it out and make it as epic as humanly possible. I had recently seen Top Gun Maverick, and I was just like so in love with that movie. I came out of the movie, I was just like preaching about it. I'm like, how could we ever do anything similar to that scale? I'm like, well, we can't get jets, but we can get jet skis. And so it kind of just grew out of that. We like stunts, we like we like going big, and so we're like, that's a pretty big palette, to paint on.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of wanted it to be like in terms of being epic, kind of Scarface more.
Yeah, we want to play with the idea of like the Miami Vice motif and Scarface, and we were like, well, we can get to the Hamptons, we can get these jet skis, and we like to challenge. We like to challenge ourselves.
At first, I wanted to do wave runners, but that would have been
right.
just like whales, like some 007 stuff.
It was funny because I remember when I pitched Adiel on the idea of like jet skis, I was like, can you like drive a jet ski? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, what if we did an episode where like we had jet skis on the water and we had a drone and we had 3 cameras and all this stuff? And I think if I remember correct, Adiel was like, what he said to me was like, do you even hear yourself sometimes? And I was like, no, we can really do it. We can kick ass with it and really make it big.
It's funny. That reminds me of the realization I had is kind of the role of the director is to be like, I have this, the role of the director is what? Right? Mm-hmm. The idea is like, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
And the role of a producer is how.
Yeah, exactly.
And those two energies of like something big and then something realistic coming together, to me is what unlocks that magic of independent filmmaking. Because you have constraints, you have kind of limits, but the creativity isn't hindered by that,
Right.
And I just like seeing your guys' chemistry on camera, but then also in the time that we've been able to hang out. Yeah. I just love that you guys have just like a great energy together.
No, thank you, man.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, and we just appreciate filmmaking and doing things practical, and Audio's great because he is like he is a yes and man. Not a yes man, you don't want those, but he's a yes and man. He'll present an idea and he'll be like, sure, we could do that. And, there's a million other ideas that he comes up with. And so I feel like if I pitched this idea to like any of the other people that I've worked with in the past, they'd just be like, we can't do that. But Audio's like, we'll figure it out.
Well, the one thing I appreciate about Isaiah is authenticity, and he's very much himself always. He's it's you never really get tired of that when you see a lot of people trying new things, and it's great to try new things. But it was a pleasure working with him on the past project, Get the Comic, and I just feel like being able to take that experience and bring it into the streets, editing wise, for us to really build out this universe that Isaiah, because Isaiah is kind of the visionary when in terms of making a universe of all these wacky characters and putting them on screen and capturing the essence of what New York is and can be and has been in the past. And in terms of, working with animators and, even sound mixers and denoisers and just like color graders, it's been a special journey and process to make this. So looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, let's get into that because episodic. What are the challenges of episodic filmmaking and how have you kind of solved the problem? Because I know that it's a problem for a lot of creatives. How do you do that?
Just be as ignorant as possible. Cause like, we just went into it, like not knowing
like the winds,
just not knowing any of the logistical stuff that would go into it. It was just all like blue sky ideas. And once we had the idea that we wanted to do a web series next, we were like, oh, we could do this, that, the other thing. And we just never lost that. Like, even when things got tough, we were still like, we'll figure it out somehow. But episodic is definitely tough. We just put in a lot of our own money and it was just grinding away. We would collaborate on the scripts, and then he would write a script, and then I would do a pass on it, and I would do a script, and he would do a pass on it, and vice versa. And from the beginning, we wanted to do 7 episodes, and so and he was really good at keeping me to that, because as we were going through it, I was like, maybe we do like 5 episodes. He's like, no, we're doing 7, and so we just stuck to it and yeah, grinded it out.
And I just also want to say we kind of touched on this beforehand, but Isaiah is a master at what he does. So even directing me after getting all the shots that he wanted, and being able to bring out the animation, like you said, with the cropping of that one frame, it took me forever just to get that, and but it led to just it kind of the rest of the episode unfolding, and it pushed me, and I appreciate that. So
we always try to we
Yeah,
always try to push each other and the concepts and stuff. Even like shooting the jet ski thing was just such a crazy logistical thing to pull off, because like we go there the day of, we work with this amazing DP, Sarah Martin, and she was our drone DP, because we shot that jet ski sequence was shot with a drone. It was shot with our DSL that was on the shore, and then it was shot with Adiel's phone, which we mounted onto the jet ski. So we had 3 cameras going.
Okay, I was wondering. I was like, maybe a GoPro, but no phone. That's
rehearsal
crazy.
His phone,
Really, just
no
went for
rehearsal.
No rehearsal, and I just. Yeah, because like we're the jet ski's going like, however fast it's going, and I'm like hanging onto the back of it, and I'm trying to direct the drone, and so I'm like, get this shot over here and this shot over there, and I'm like loop around. I'm like directing everything with my fucking hands, and so it was a hell of a thing, man.
Then towards the end, the drone actually fell in the water,
oh my God.
so we were racing to
drone,
get the drone out of the water, save whatever footage we had. We were just on the edge of our seats the entire time.
It was Mission Impossible, man, because the drone was running out of battery, and it was like about to fall into the water. So like we cranked the jet ski and like drive out there and catch the drone before.
So like in this weird way, you actually summoned an action movie in real life.
It was, the shooting of it was an action movie in and of itself. Yeah, it turned into Mission Impossible really quick.
That's awesome.
It's like someone was shooting us, shooting our thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So from a writing perspective, I also really like the way that you have incorporated like these updated modern kind of ideas, right? Like the episode we just watched was about NFTs, and then there's like podcasting. And tell me a bit about kind of that creative exploration of like choosing kind of this like old format, right? Like especially like a Miami Vice themed thing. Like that's such a trope, such a cliche, but then like mixing in these like NFTs and whatnot.
I think we did a pass on the original script, and then I looked at it again, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if like I felt like the episode, for it to be even funnier, it needed to be even more confusing, because it was like the idea of like, okay, we have like these NFTs, but we really don't understand like the actual like what NFTs are, and I feel like a lot of people don't, and so we wanted to play off of that. Yeah. So we played like NFTs were like this physical thing that you can transfer back and forth, and we needed to steal the NFTs and get it back. And so I'm like writing, I'm like, it's just the more confusing it is, I feel like the funnier it would turn into.
Yeah.
I think it's good to capture this new generation's attention, bringing these subject matter. I mean, he brought up the NFTs, and we've actually been working with other people who've invested in NFTs who are also artists and creatives in Brooklyn. And I think it's only like made our episodes even more creative, because in episode 7 we talk about kind of the algorithm and just like how everything's so boxed in, and thinking outside of the box is really what we tried to strive for with this project.
Because now we're working with one of the actors who played a character in one of the episodes, and he knows a lot about crypto and NFTs and stuff, and so we were like, what if we could develop something around NFTs? And so we're possibly working on like a 8-bit game based on the show that would be like an NFT, because there's like these NFT games now, and it's just like trying to figure out where things are headed, what's going to work and what's capturing people's imagination right now. And so we wanted to dip our toes into that field.
Blockchain technology is been a huge,
it's kind of adjacent to the show, but some other
been a huge
side project,
newsworthy technology that's advancing. I used to mine Litecoin, so I think being able to spread ourselves out and kind of learn more about other areas where we can kind of get some of our art from is interesting, especially in Brooklyn where everything's so up and coming.
Yeah. And even like the whole conceit of the episodes, the show was like we wanted to have each episode kind of spoofing a genre or spoofing a movie. The first episode is a spoof or play on Clerks or Slacker. The second one is that we shot at the Museum of Ice Cream is kind of a spoof on The Shining. The third is Ocean's 11. The fourth is Mortal Kombat. Then the fifth one is Miami Vice. And then by the time we get to the seventh episode, we were like, we should, do something with like The Matrix. And, so it kind of all worked into each other with AI and drones and robot dogs that are being deployed into the city now. And so we kind of play with all that ideas.
That is scary.
And it's horrifying. It's really terrifying. The police have dogs now, robot dogs.
Oh my God.
And so, we were just like, how can we talk about what's actually happening in society in like a social commentary kind of way, but also keep it real silly and stupid and fun.
That's like crazy to me because it's like, hey, can we have healthcare or
No.
better wages?
No.
And they're like,
Robot dogs for the dogs.
They're like, we've heard you loud and clear, and we've ordered
We
robot
hear you.
dogs.
We hear you. Yeah, the robots have lasers attached to their heads now.
More surveillance.
Surveillance, yeah.
It's like, how much more villainry can you
Oh
get
my
than
God.
robot dogs?
Turn into Gotham City real quick.
Yeah.
I really do respect it, and again, I have to just commend you on like
Thank you.
having that 7-episode goal and like hitting it, and really hitting at that the energy and the feeling of like what independent filmmaking is.
Thank you.
know?
Yeah. No, I mean it's like when we first started off with the show, we were like, my God, like what's the thing to do? And so every episode and I think we successfully did this in our own right, but every episode we wanted to keep upping the ante and making it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till the time you get to episode 5, we're on jet skis with drones and fucking it just gets so insane. From where we started, if you watch episode 1, it's a pretty simple concept. There's some cool animation in it, but it's not it's not like the crazy epic scale that 5 was. And so each episode just got bigger and bigger, and the scale just got bigger.
We really definitely started small, and then as the episodes progressed, we saw that the footage we were getting, we were able to kind of make longer duration videos.
Yeah. The episodes just kept getting longer and longer.
But also the spaces we were able to work within kind of kept getting larger. I mean, shout out Secretport for allowing us to shoot episode 1.
Yep.
Which they also host comedy shows and stuff. So it was really great to be able to work within that venue. And then Museum of Ice Cream, where we shot episode 2. Shout out Neil Walsh, who was on that episode.
And shout out to the Museum of Ice Cream, because that was the place I used to work at. And it's basically this big fake museum in Soho that's like all ice cream centric, and the place is just so trippy. Like you go in there and everything is like aggressively pink, and it looks like The Shining meets like Barbie's dream house.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah. And so my boss at the time just let us shoot, and kind of we had the whole place to ourselves. We shot on a day when it was closed, and so we just went fucking nuts in there, man. That's another episode I'm really, really proud of.
Yeah.
Came out very trippy.
That's
And,
awesome. Yeah, so since you did the 7 episodes, what are you kind of imagining going forward, like creatively? And if you want to talk about like, what are you thinking about working on or doing?
I was very gung-ho about season 2, and I want to do a season 2, but it's not the next thing I wanted to.
To the Street season 2.
Yeah, to the Street season 2. The next thing we're working on is a feature film that, we're plugging away at and trying to, go through the whole, the finance thing and everything like that. But season 2, the concept that we had for it was that it would be great to do like 2 seasons and maybe like a feature film or something, and at some point, do go international.
2 seasons in a movie.
Yeah, 2 seasons in a movie.
Right, classic.
Yeah. And I was like, where can we shoot next? I'm like, what if what's the thing to do? Like you want to go bigger and bigger and bigger. So I'm like, what if we went like international and just like went to like Tijuana or something?
Right. And, we had kind of a conversation about funding and community building and gathering that audience.
Yeah.
And like, that's the kind of idea that's so big
Yeah.
that you could get that buy-in,
Right,
that
yeah,
like
you can't
audience
help but
buy-in that it's
attract-
like,
yeah.
whoa, they're trying to go to Greece.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
now I'm interested.
yeah.
And it you know, it plays that thing where it's like, okay, now we have more budget, but now we spend more,
Yeah.
so now we're back.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
you know?
Well,
Yeah,
also too, that's why it's great working with these rotoscopers, because we built a relationship with these animators and rotoscopers where, you know, they enjoyed working on this as much as we enjoyed building it, you know, building it out together, and so we built these connections where we could possibly work with them in the future, and hopefully on season 2 we can even do more animation, more rotoscope work, and make this universe.
And if you don't know what
mega.
rotoscope is, too, like,
Yeah.
you know, you got to, you know, take your hats off to these animators, because rotoscope is basically when you shoot something live action, and then you go back into post and you get an animator, and they draw over every frame of the shot. So they literally have to go frame by frame, millisecond by millisecond, and draw over everything. And so, you know, it's just like a crazy amount of work that they got done in a really, really quick turnaround.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's like the awesome thing about kind of making films in 2024 too, is the access
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we have. Because like rotoscoping has always been kind of a long and expensive process,
Right.
but at least now we don't have film that
Yeah,
they're doing
yeah.
it. And then now we have access to drones and AI, and the ability to create is like closer than ever. It's
Yeah.
more accessible than ever.
Yeah, and the turnaround just gets faster and faster, too, as, you know, technology, you know,
Yeah.
speeds up and everything. So.
Well, and then even like with my pilot, when we started, there was a scene. It took us a month to film and edit. And near
Which your
the
pilot, by the
end-
way, is really funny.
Oh,
I
thank you.
love the concept. It looks beautiful too. Like
Thank you.
you know, there's no noise or grain, and it looks very clean.
It took a long time to get there, and I did 6 vignettes that were
Wow.
12-minute
Nice.
episodes
Right.
that did have that grain, did have that
Yeah.
roughness, but it took that to get there. And so when we started the pilot, that one like opening scene took like a month to edit, and then we had to reshoot a different scene. And by the end, we were able to get it down to like a week and a half. So it's like over time as filmmakers, we
Right.
also get faster and cleaner.
Yeah.
And then the biggest thing I've learned is learning how to spot mistakes like on set or in pre-visualization.
Yeah, that's huge.
Because I started off as an editor, and the amount of work I've had to do fixing things that weren't adjusted on set, it
my God.
trained me to be like, that's a problem. We need that lighter, brighter.
Yeah.
We need it louder.
Yeah.
We need this, you know?
And so it always needs to be louder. No matter what. That's what we learned on our first short film. Was like we had shot this end sequence, and the end sequence was like, I mean, I was just ignorant, you know, like shooting on the day of, and we only used like a shotgun mic on the camera. And so we got it back, and we're like, the last scene was like so bad audio wise. So we had to ADR it. We had to, you know, have multiple sound mixers come in and fix it. Eventually it got to the place where we needed it to get to. But yeah, man, that we completely underestimated sound. Yeah.
Yeah, there's almost a level of naivete that helps us when we first start,
it.
right?
No, you need it. We knew fucking nothing. Like, you know, when we first embarked on, like, you know, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be rotoscope and half animation, and we're gonna do podcasts, and we're gonna go through, and like if we knew then what we knew, you know, now we'd be like, we can't do that. But you know, we just figured it out.
Well, that's why it's great to see, like, you know, working as an editor. I commend you on your pilot too, because I love some of the shots you had, like the one guy with the gimbal. Just like, it's really funny.
Yeah.
And then, but like having Isaiah being able to look at the shots and like, and him being like, what can we do? That could be funny, and I would have no idea where he's going with it. And I'm like, all right, and then it just ends up being like a beautiful shot and a really funny, and it was great. I was able to kind of like feed off that energy and like be able to, and then sometimes he'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Just shut up and let me work."
Well, he's a great editor. He's a really good editor, because he edits everything, and I just sit behind him, you know, just like.
But just really credits to this guy, because I was, you know, I was really lucky to work with him and blessed to work with him, and then be able to. He gave me the space to be able to make something creative as well on top of that.
Yeah,
so.
and he does the whole rough assembly. Like, he'll take all the footage and kind of like, you know,
cut it
and everything. And then I come in a little later in the process, actually, and I kind of do more tweaking than anything. Or if I have like a really specific concept in my head, I'll you know, we'll kind of work through it earlier on. But yeah, he assembles everything, and it's more or less like we're very copacetic, as far as like the way we think. Like I'll come in and I'll see us cut. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking that should look like, or that's exactly where we should cut. And yeah, he's good at that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that collaboration really does come through, like in the show. It's
Good.
like it's
Yeah,
there
thank
in the
you.
characters
Yeah.
and in the work, and I just love that.
No,
So
I appreciate it, man.
if people want to get involved, what's the best way to kind of contact you and like
I'd say through
if
our
you want people
Instagrams.
involved.
Yeah,
of course. The more the
Please,
merrier.
yeah. Anybody wants to help us out, and so we need help. I need help. I need mental
Mentally.
help. I need a lot of help.
Sorry, the best we can do are robot dogs.
Exactly. Best is going to be drones that will enslave you.
Explosions. More explosions.
You could check us out on Instagram. My Instagram is IJ_Mueller, MUELLER. To the Streets has an Instagram. It's at To the Streets.
TWO. THE Streets.
Yep.
And we had a website up. I have a website, www.audiolzk.com. You can follow us on our socials. And we're looking to build out a website to be able to sell these stickers.
Yeah, eventually these will be sold.
And to be able to get our series on there, and also get the comic and upcoming projects where people can even be able to DM us if they want to roll or audition for a role or whatever. So that'd be really cool. And shout out also you shout out Museum of shout out Caffeine Underground, Ian Ford. I work there part-time, so I just if Casey's watching this, because he might shout out him for allowing us to shoot our podcast episode 4 there, and I did some of the editing there as well. It's a great cafe. So some of the you got to appreciate some of the things you have on hand that are just free, where you can have the mental space to be able to put your time and energy and work into your craft. So
and you curate different spots that want to work with you, and these little mom and pop shops that are very open to people shooting, and they've been great.
That's awesome. Well, I really just want to extend a thank you for
been so much
flying
fun,
out,
man.
visiting us. Like,
this has been a vibe, dude.
and
dude.
it's funny. Every time I start talking to filmmakers, we really are so similar. Even though we're all in different places, we have like the same headaches, the same challenges, the same dreams, the same shared vision of like, why don't we do it big? You know? So, with that, I think we're gonna kind of keep highlighting some more independent films,
more movies.
and,
let's
kind of
keep it
hang
going.
out, and we'll see kind of where the day takes us. So thank you guys.
Thank you
Thank
for
you so
having
much
us,
for
man.
If you want to give them like just a wave and tell them thanks for watching, and we'll queue
Thanks
up
for
the next
watching,
one.
everybody. Great movies. We're gonna keep checking them out.
Yeah, thanks for having
I'm
us.
excited.
Yeah.
What's next?
Uh-oh. What is next? Stretch a little longer. Tell them to like.
Oh,
and
yeah,
subscribe.
Like
Follow
and
us.
subscribe our
Like and
YouTube
subscribe.
channel at L Train Prod, L Train Productions, To the Streets. Also on Vimeo, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.
It's all To the Streets.
Yeah.
TWO.
TWO. It's on Dweezer, whatever that one app is. Whatever.
We gotta get it off there.
Awesome. Well, thank you
Thank you,
guys.
guys.
And
you.
here we go. Block B. Enjoy.